So AOC has officially admitted that she will be endorsing Joe Biden. And even though I would like to say I'm surprised, we're really not. But we're going to talk about it anyway. Thanks for tuning in. So at this point, everybody knows that Joe Biden is the presumptive nominee. But although Joe Biden has become the quote unquote presumptive nominee, or I should say has been selected as the presumptive nominee for the Democratic Party, a lot of people on the left and even some of the populist right were hoping that some of our most vocal progressives would take a stand because, let's be honest, having Joe Biden as the nominee is a pure abomination of everything the Democratic Party claims they represent. Now, leading amongst these progressives, and I put leading in quotations, is AOC, at least as far as the platform she has, the awareness she can bring to any given issue, and just how vocal she is or can be when it comes to major issues that a lot of the people care about, right? Okay. Well, she said she's going to take the lead again, quote unquote, by voting for Joe Biden. And she said this on a live stream with Fat Joe, not to be confused with Joe Biden or Joe Rogan. Fat Joe is the rapper. And she said that in an Instagram live stream. In that live stream, she said, and I quote, "In November, I'm going to be voting for Joe Biden," she responded. "But that's what I'm going to be doing." So is this the first time you said you're voting for Biden? Fat Joe asked. I mean, I've been saying this whole time that we got to support the Democratic nominee, she said. But then she added, this is the time where I'm saying it declaratively like this. Okay. Whatever the hell that means. I mean, I know what declaratively means, but she's been saying declaratively that we need to vote for the nominee. So I don't know why that's AOC though. Beware of people who like to argue semantics and try and pass off semantics as nuance, just to let everybody know. So, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. She's going to vote for Joe Biden. That means we're good, right? We're done. I'm a progressive. AOC is a progressive. And she said we're voting for Joe Biden. And clearly, everyone thinks that AOC is this super progressive philosopher and thought leader. And you know what? Hey, look, it's at times like these that I turn to our brilliant philosophers and contemporary thought leaders to get guidance on situations like this when I'm being conflicted. So let's look at a tweet from one of our favorite thought leaders and contemporary philosophers. So I was conflicted about what to do about this because I know they're just accusations, but I just wanted to know the direction we go in as a movement. So I looked to this great philosopher here who said, we're saying it loud and clear. On November 6th, if you are an elected official that minimizes, covers for, or ignores sexual assault, then we will replace you by electing survivors to office. Me too. Cancel Kavanaugh. Let's go. Okay. Who said that? Y'all? That thing says Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez from 2018. Give me 1 second. I'm just make sure I'm reading this correctly. I need y'all to do me a favor. Check on Twitter to make sure that they're not making duplicate, verified accounts of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Because, I mean, honestly, if you replace that with Joe Biden, it would be 100% applicable. And I know one of our great progressive thought leaders would not be this hypocritical. That's not something that AOC's been known to do, is it? And it's definitely not what the Democrats have been known to do. This must be wrong. But I agree with her. I agree with her to a degree. So by her standard, the standard that's been set by AOC and many Democrats, I guess we should be canceling Joe Biden then. Huh? See, AOC deciding to boldly proclaim that we should vote for the Democratic nominee, but more specifically, we should vote for Joe Biden, presents a bigger problem that I feel like a lot of people are not really getting at a fundamental level. And that problem is, how the hell can the Democratic Party continue to try and act like this moral superior to the Republican Party when you present us with essentially a Kavanaugh situation, but with even more credible evidence? And, you know, they have witnesses that weren't drunk, witnesses that actually work with Tara Reid. They have police reports. Joe Biden won't even address it. But Joe Biden actually running for president and not just being appointed to the Supreme Court bench. And when it was Kavanaugh in a similar situation, AOC said, cancel him. You're essentially ignoring sexual assault or minimizing sexual assault. That's according to AOC. So what's the standard? What standard are we to adhere to? It seems like the only standard that is practiced consistently amongst the Democrats, and quite honestly, amongst Republicans as well, is, hold up. Before I get upset and mad about this, before I cancel this person, I need to know, are they a Democrat or Republican? Because, I mean, yeah, it may be sexual assault, but if they're a Democrat, I bet he took her out to dinner first. Like, before he did it. I think that counts for something, right? That's the only qualifier. That is the only standard for anything. War crimes are okay if you're a Democrat. War crimes are bad if you're Trump. Threatening the Ukraine to withhold aid is okay if you're a Democrat. Working with Ukraine to investigate corruption is not okay if you're a Republican. Working to stop aid going to small businesses is okay if you're a Democrat. Not okay if you're a Republican. Sexual assault apparently is okay if you're a Democrat. Not so much okay if you're a Republican, even if it's only alleged. This is why I can't take this party seriously. This is why I stopped taking AOC seriously. It's not, once again, can she be an ally? Sure. But honestly, at this point, I'm losing faith in that. I'm losing faith in AOC's ability to be an ally. I mean, hell, we're going to cover a little bit later, but she voted against the probably one of the only good piece of legislation that went through. It was because of an emergency request from the small businesses themselves. The money dried up for small businesses. Small businesses needed more loans for their payment protection plans for their employees. Nancy Pelosi blocked it. AOC grandstanded about it, and then voted no on one of the only good pieces of legislation there was. Oh, bruh. Oh, sweet baby Jesus. Justin B, thank you very, very much for the super chat. Isn't it time to fully dim exit and green enter? What are we waiting for? Why didn't we start back in 2016 when Bernie got screwed? Actually, to my knowledge, a lot of people did dim exit. It was like millions and millions of people dim exited and went to the Green Party. But the Green Party also has its own issues. They're acting a little bit hypocritical too, which is why I'm a firm believer that it's beyond. We're beyond party politics. We have, at least, I mean, I'm not saying obviously you have to probably get into a party if you want to have any type of systemic change of any kind when it comes to the electoral outcomes. But the way we categorize people, the way we think about the actions of individuals, we have to stop assigning to what party they belong to. We can't do it. We just saw AOC vote yes effectively on a major corporate bailout, while Republican and Massey try to hold everybody accountable for that vote. We saw Mitt Romney introduce UBI while AOC talked about UBI. We saw Rashida Tlaib introduce UBI, who's a squad member, while AOC has been silent on her legislation and Ro Khanna's. Well, no, I think she actually said something about Ro Khanna's, but I don't know if she co-sponsored it. I'm being hopeful right now. I don't even know if she did. She said nothing about Tulsi's UBI when that was introduced in March 12th. Tulsi tried to address this situation in March 12th before we even knew a quarantine was coming. AOC was silent, but then tries to blame the administration. She could have worked with Tulsi to say how badly this situation was being handled by the government. She could have worked with Rashida Tlaib and Pramila Jayapal, who were also trying to get out ahead of this. Instead, she wanted to grandstand without actually being efficacious and using her platform for something other than boosting her own brand. This, ladies and gentlemen, is dangerous to populist movements and progressive movements. Just because someone is a Dem does not make them your ally. Just because someone is a Green Party member does not necessarily make them your ally either. Just because somebody's a Republican doesn't make them your ally. A lot of these people are in it for themselves. But what makes AOC particularly dangerous to the progressive movement is that she doesn't actually do necessarily what the Democrats want or what the Republicans want. In fact, her allegiances seem to be only to herself, which makes her a special type of dangerous, because people confuse selfishness and self-centeredness and self-importance with being an independent and being anti-establishment. If you go back and look at all the times that her and Pelosi have gone back and forth, it has always been based on some selfish desire to defend herself. And then somehow she drags the rest of the squad into the conversation and pretends like she's defending all of them. But it's really just her she's defending. Because whenever the squad members are individually attacked or criticized, she doesn't really come to the defense. Oh, excuse me. She came to the defense of Ayanna Pressley to defend her endorsement of Warren. That's about it. So when she's silent on an issue, a lot of the progressive movement and a lot of the left think that the issue is unimportant. If she speaks about an issue, people assume that she is on the right side of that issue because she might say one thing, because she talks out of both sides of her neck. We all know this, right? She'll say one thing and then change her mind 2 minutes later when it comes to her vote. Or literally, she'll go on Fox News, talk about how voter suppression is not being accounted for in the results of the Democratic primary elections, and then literally hop on Twitter minutes later and say, well, no, but that's not what I was saying. I was saying, though, that Joe Biden won fair and square. That's what I was saying. That's all. Come on, bro. She's already. It took Warren almost 2 terms to put herself in a corner like she has put herself in. AOC is doing it in record time. And if you think that this isn't going, she's trying to set herself up for a run. She wants a legitimate shot at the nomination, and she knows she can't get that if she pisses Nancy Pelosi and the Democratic establishment off. The problem is, you've pissed off almost every single conservative, a lot of independents, and a lot of Democrats. The math is not going to add up for you. I'm just saying. Jay Wood, thank you very much for the super chat. To be devil's advocate, didn't we want her to vote against the first bill partly because it was incremental? She didn't vote against the first bill though. It was worse than incremental, actually. By the way, we wanted her to vote against the first bill. She didn't vote against the first bill. She said she voted against the first bill, but that was actually a lie because we have video evidence. She did not. And she tried to wait a week or so after to go back and play cleanup because every progressive was taking a hit for either not being vocal enough against the bill or supporting the bill, knowing that corporations were going to be bailed out before the people were. But this bill is to make sure that small businesses can qualify for the loans that they would have qualified in the last bill, or qualified for in the last bill, but the money dried up. And the data has been out there for weeks that the money had dried up. Like the next day, the money dried up. And so, for example, my wife just got an email this morning. She was able to get paid from her last job as long as the lockdown is going through for the next 8 weeks because of this legislation. Small businesses needed it. AOC voted against it. Nancy Pelosi blocked it the first time. It got passed anyway. But it's like AOC thinks the public is stupid. And that's it. Honestly, she might be partially right. I don't know. But it's like she said, okay, so everybody is living under it's like I don't think she reads these pieces of legislation. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to front. Because it's like she thought that because maybe 2 out of the last 3 bills that were voted for were bad, and everybody's just assuming that every bill introduced by Congress is going to be bad, then if I vote no on this one, I get to grandstand and pretend like I'm actually capitulating to what the people want me to do. And since Nancy Pelosi doesn't want the Republicans to have a leg up, because if you didn't know, it was the Republicans who introduced this new piece of legislation. It was like since Nancy Pelosi doesn't like it, I can vote against it and no harm, no foul, and it's going to pass anyway. And I get to pretend like I did something. She said, legislate like rent is due on May 1st. Well, because of that piece of legislation, my wife got paid because she is an employee of a small business. At least, she isn't, but she is. Everybody in Florida is in a weird limbo. But at least until there's a final decision made, that legislation allowed people like my wife to get paid. And they've been waiting. My barber applied for that loan and couldn't get it because the money dried up. And now he'll be able to get his loan to make sure his barbershop and his small business can stay open, and that his employees can get paid. And AOC voted against that. Out of all the bills you could have voted for, that was one of the few bills you should have voted yes on. But that lets me know also that you, one, are going to vote with the Democrats regardless, and two, are going to, that you don't read the legislation, that you don't educate yourself, that you're reading headlines and then going to Nancy Pelosi and doing what she tells you to do. So I'd love to know what your thoughts are about that. So like this video, leave a comment below, don't vote for Joe, and always remember, more than anything else, find your balance. Peace. If you like that segment of Mi Casa es Su Casa, don't forget to like the video and smash that subscribe button. Want access to members only live streams, behind the scenes footage, and other premium content? Well, you can endorse us on Rockfin Premium, become a patron through Patreon, or you can sign up for the MCSC Premium membership through YouTube. All the links are in the description below. But hey, more than anything else,
more than anything else,
always remember,
find your balance.
find your balance. Find your balance.
Find your balance. Find your balance.
Find your balance. Find your balance.
Always remember, more than anything else, find your balance.
peace.